Okay, once I have my Bulldog placed where I want it to be, I'm going to go ahead and take a minute to check the edge of my Bulldog. So I'm going to zoom in, Control plus. And any place I see little white spots around the edge, that was a part of the original background that I should delete better. So I'm going to switch to my eraser tool. And that on your cheat sheet is tool number 7. So this is your eraser tool. I can click around these edges to erase these little white spots, but I need to shrink that dot to make it fit. To shrink a dot, find the letter P on the keyboard. The bracket to the right of the letter P will shrink when you click that. And if you want that dot to grow bigger, you click the bracket 2 spaces over, or the one next to the Enter key, to make your dot grow bigger. Okay, I'm going to zoom out, move that back where I want it to go. All right, on my directions, this is now step number 18. So in my Bulldog folder, I'm going to go File, Open. I'm going to switch to my T drive, open up Dropbox, Kindle, your class, Bulldog, and you can choose either one of these thought bubble files. It doesn't matter which one you pick, they just have different shapes on them. So remember, when you open a new file, it's going to cover up the current file you're on. To separate those, click the title bar and drag that to the side, and then you can see these images side by side again. Okay, so this is already a Photoshop file. The background is already deleted. Anytime I see checkers, it means it's invisible. But I need to select one of those thought bubbles to move into my assignment. So I know that anytime I have checkers, it's invisible, so I don't have to have a precise selection when I do this. I'm just going to use my lasso tool, tool 3. And I'm just going to loosely draw around the edge. It does not matter if I have checkers inside my selection because checkers means it's invisible. Once I have the selection, I'm going to switch to tool 1, which is my move tool. And I'm going to click and drag and let go. And it's going to put my thought bubble in my image. So now I need to make sure my thought bubble is big enough to fit text. If I need to enlarge it, I'm going to click Control T to transform. And I'm going to pull those corners when I finish. So push Enter. And that's going to allow me to have more space. But I think it will look better to have that piece of the bubble coming out of the dog's head facing the other direction. So I'll use Control T. And I'm just going to pull all the way across to the right to flip the angle of that thought bubble. Push Enter when I finish. Okay, now I'm ready to type. So when you type, whatever you're going to be saying, make sure you're using correct grammar and spelling in your spelling thought bubble. Okay, so keep things school appropriate. Okay, when I'm ready to add text, this is now tool number, or rather step number 22 on your directions. You're looking for the text tool, which is tool number 9 on your cheat sheet. So first thing I always need to check before I start to type is what color has my text been set to, because I'm going to be typing on a white bubble. Right now, my top color is white, and I can see that up here. It is set to white, and over here it is set to white. If I leave that as white, I am not going to see what I'm typing because my bubble's white. So the first thing I need to do is change the color to make sure I'm actually going to be able to see the color that I'm typing with. And that color needs to be on the front square. I can click the letter X, and that will transfer that color to the front. So now I know I'll be able to see the blue on top of the white. So to begin with, do not worry about where the letters type. Just type what you want it to say. It does not matter what size they are or if they go outside of the box. Click one time to start your cursor. So my Bulldog might say, I love the beach. Okay, when I'm finished typing, I'm going to change all the mistakes that I need to do when I edit this. So first thing I know is that my text went out of my box. So for me, I want mine to have a second row. So I'm just going to click after my E and push Enter to make a second row. And I can use my arrow key and my backspace key. I can kind of shift things over that way. So now that I've got 2 rows, now I need to shrink all my letters down so that they fit inside that box. So I'm going to switch to the Move tool, tool 1. Now I can transform this. Click Control T, and now I can pull these corners to shrink or grow those words so they fit that space. When I'm done, I push Enter. I do not like this position. I want all my letters to be centered. So if I want to move those letters individually, I need to go back to my Text tool. Then I'm going to click right inside those letters. Use my arrow to get to the end of my eye, and I'm going to use my space bar to move that so it's a little more centered. Then I can also change the color under the Text tool. So I'm going to click and drag to change the color if I want. So say I don't want it blue, I want it purple. I can't see that the purple was selected, but it did change because, oh, I gotta click X, put purple on, no, sorry. Okay, got my purple set. There we go. I can't see the change happen initially. When I click the Move tool, now I can see that they're purple. If I decide I don't like that font, I have to stay in my Text tool, click and drag, and then up here is where I can change my font. So if I just move my mouse to hover, I can see what the font's going to look like. So say I like this font. Okay, if I want to change anything about the position of the text, that's under Control T. Move tool and Control T. That's how I can shrink and grow my text and move it. If I want to change anything about the color or the font, I have to switch to the T, the Text tool. I have to click and drag to change those selections. Okay, so once I see that I've got my correct grammar and spelling, the last thing that I want you to demonstrate is how to use what's called a special effect. So this is number 25 on your directions. So you're going to decide what layer you want to put a special effect on. If you look at your cheat sheet, tool number 19 is your special effect tool. So right now I have to look at my layer window. I have a background, which was my beach. I have the Bulldog. I have layer 1. I'm going to retitle and put my mouse right over the top. Title that Thought Bubble. And then your text should always read what you type. So I can click these eyeballs and shut all these layers off to check to see what was on each layer. So I can put an effect on any of those top 3 layers. And let's see, I want my thought bubble to have an effect. I have to make sure I'm on the thought bubble layer. I'm going to click the FX button, tool 19, and I want it to have an outer glow. So I'm going to move this box so I can see what's going to happen to that layer. Anytime I see a little square, that's my color picker. So maybe I want my bubble to glow pink. I'm going to set it to pink. Now you can see up here it is pink. I can play with any of these triangles and see what happens to the image as I move these buttons. If you decide you don't like that effect, you can uncheck it and try a different one. So I'm going to leave that effect as is. Okay, so now I just might move my Bulldog a little bit. Click on the Bulldog, make sure I'm on tool 1, the Move tool, and kind of move him out of the glow zone. Okay, so now this assignment is technically finished because I put my Bulldog in a new background. The background photo is not blurry. The edge of my Bulldog is clean and neat and not a lot of white from the original background. I added a thought bubble, I added text to my thought bubble, and then I added a special effect. So now I'm ready to turn in this assignment. One more thing I wanted to show some of you. When you go to do your text, if your text layer is below your thought bubble, you're not going to be able to see your text when you type. So sometimes you just have to rearrange your layers. Click your text and drag it to the top, and then it comes into view. Okay, when I'm ready to turn this in, I am going to save myself a copy always. File, save as. I'm going to make sure I'm in my G drive and my art folder, and I'm going to leave that as Beach Bulldog and click save. If it says, do you want to replace it? Click yes, because you're updating it to the most current version. Then always click OK. That gave you a copy. Now you need to turn in a copy to me. File, save as, switch to this PC, T drive, West, Dropbox, Kendall, your class, and the directions say you turn this into the Bulldog folder. Double click Bulldog. You always save your assignments as your last name in Photoshop. I need you alphabetical by last name, then click Save, then click OK. Now I have a copy to grade. The directions at the bottom are reminding you to check the requirements before you save everything. And then anytime you finish something early, you can work on extra credit. So extra credit at this point is demonstrating any tools you know how to use in Photoshop. So you can always go back to a black and white image and add color, or now you can start to go to the internet, find images from the internet that are school appropriate, save those to your G drive, open them in Photoshop. You can merge pictures together. Maybe you choose a different object besides a bulldog to put in a new environment. Maybe you find a celebrity that you like and put the celebrity in a new environment, or a photo of a friend that you manipulate, or find a photo of a celebrity and add text to the top. There's lots of skills that you just learned in this tutorial that you could apply to extra credit. Any extra credit you create, save yourself a copy in your G drive, and then turn in extra credit to the extra credit folder.